Well, we're at Brocklesby Hall now. They're having an unusual open day for the gardens, and we're going to have a tour around with the head gardener as well. Which is rather nice to see. Brocklesby Hall in North Lincolnshire, and they've got around these wonderful gardens. These beautiful greenhouses. These are two of the smaller ones, but using lovely old Victorian metal cast iron stanchions. All these hostas.
So I've seen a few things. The garden is 6 acres in total. It's 5 of us who look after it, 3 men and 2 ladies, which is a good mix really. 6 acres in size. It's organic and it is certified organic underneath the Soil Association regulations, so we get audited every year and make sure we're doing things properly. The garden's been here around 250 years. It was designed and laid out by Capability Brown, and there's at least 5 or 6 similar ones to this in the UK. Greenhouses, look at the walls, and we're going to look at a couple of structures over the back, walk around the path, come through this greenhouse, go around the path, and then into the kitchen garden. So, if you look at in the heyday, in this garden, there were 22 people working here, ranging from young boys who were stoking up fires and messing around with horse muck, to actual head gardeners, under gardeners, that type of thing. And all the sort of unmarried men and boys all lived in a cottage where those 2 chimneys are. And there was around 15 people in there, sort of rammed in bunk beds and stuff. Yeah, it was quite an intensive place. And behind that wisteria up there's the bell. And there used to be no grass, there was nothing sort of ornamental, it was all about produce. So every inch of this garden basically would have been greenhouses or some type of frame to actually protect crops. And if you look at this wall, this would have had a massive greenhouse along it. And if you look, you can see the old frames that used to be there, which used to grow the crops up, and also the old whitewash on the wall. And the reason I know this was because we landscaped this area 5 or 6 years ago, and we found really big foundations that actually said there was some substantial buildings on this wall. Over time. Because we get like a fungus called peach leaf curl, but we haven't decided on what sort of structure we want yet, so it's been left undone at the minute. Yeah, the surface was like a muddy type gravel. Underneath this is a tarmac.
It's really nice, that one. I've got some that's not on here, but that one I know. We need to go that way.
Yeah, I do. I think you would sort of just...
We actually found the wall. This was because the soil level was where those 3/4 of bricks are on that wall, what was a different colour. We scraped it off, the full garden got scraped off to where it is now, so we took it down by 3 brick levels. So this was all covered up, we didn't know this was here, any of this structure. So we were digging, we hit a brick wall, oh okay, let's get a foundation. And we hit another brick wall and another brick wall as we went along. And we thought there must be something here, so we actually, like archaeologists, got our shovels out and spades and stuff, and we hand dug all this out. And this is what we found basically.
Fantastic. Why would that be so amazing?
I think because originally greenhouse like that.
So I noticed there's someone that's next to it. Spot from that, isn't it?
This nice corner.
Yeah, small base though.
Yeah.
But we don't know what it is. It's just been left for people to look at basically.
There's no records of what?
No.
Shame.
But we found a few bits and pieces like this dotted all over the place.
Yeah,
Oh, that's some.
There would have been a greenhouse there on that back wall.
Yeah.
You can see the
I like these, man. Have a couple of days.
7 years ago we decided to, this was quite dilapidated, the woodwork, so we decided to tear it all down and restart again. And on the brickwork there was like a white render, like a white cement render that was all chipped and cracked and stuff. We never knew any of that brickwork was there. So we pulled it all off and we found that, but also what we found was like along the whole length of the building, there's like like all stone arches that form all the way along. There's probably about 30 arches along this. And what would have happened was, in the olden days, they would have forced horse manure into the actual hole, packed it out, and as the horse manure sort of decomposed, it would give off heat and stuff. Sort of just a normal sort of roof. Did you notice it?
Yeah.
So like a different brickwork.
Did you? Oh, wow.
Heat up through these metal vents, but these vents were original to this greenhouse. When I came here, this thing, it was just a concrete floor, like an oval concrete as well, you know, like a ballasty concrete with pebbles in. So we decided to rip it out and do it as it is now. And we found all these great points. That type of thing. In here, there's like 140 tomato plants.
Oh, 2 of us and I've got 4 plants. What's plenty for me?
Get over the quality, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's awful, isn't it?
It works.
This is the wall, and the stem goes out into the soil bed. Can you see it?
Oh wow.
That's where the stem is, and it goes into a pipe. But
Oh, it's
so
massive.
presume it goes out there.
Like saying, rebuilt in 1910, 1850. And they are original to the building. They actually catch the water off the roof to water the plants. Yeah, we had a couple of...
Didn't plant those giant cabbage seeds, I was going to.
And that one there is quite an interesting crop. It's called collards. It's used a lot in sort of West Indian cooking. That's the sort of water. It's all rainwater.
Not used much. Oh, it's a lemon, is it?
But we've got also we've got tanks that we can. There's tanks all around the place, and wells actually that we can tap into and resurface. On the bottom. And we've sussed out that we've got to put those around because we get like a wood lice infestation, and the wood lice nibble the cucumbers off at the base. By doing that, it stops the wood lice doing it.
That's a good tip.
Made it, really. I know what the family like, really.
Yeah.
So,
Do they look to say to you,
if they didn't like it, they'd say don't grow that.
or did they wanted something special?
Yeah, they tell me. Well, here's one of the plaques that I was talking about. So, built in 1933, and it took 3 years
Wow.
for us to rebuild it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you allowed, are you given a bit of licence to do what you think, or is it quite strict on what they require?
Within reason, if it's
Okay.
a few £100, church is open and this leads to the church. Well, in the olden days, this was called Paradise Walk. It was the main gate that the family would use to come from Brocklesby Hall to the gardens. And all through this pathway there would have been aviaries, ornamental cages with all like rare birds from China, Asia, South America, just there for the family sort of
Pleasure.
yeah.
Wow.
So honestly, it was traditional on a Sunday morning. If there was guests, they'd all come round, and this is the way they'd come.
This is
is our direct line to Paris.
You can get lost in here, can't you? Where's my stuff?
Lovely artichokes there.
This is the only one with that sort of leaf. Well, these predate any flowering plants. These before flowering plants came. This is like rumored to be the oldest ornamental tree on the estate. I know it looks quite small and stuff now, but if you look at the size of the trunk, it was twice as big as this in height. It snapped out many years ago. I'm not sure.
What's that? Lamb?
No. Yeah.
That's like
Should have got a punish.
Do they freeze?
near the Jerusalem.
What are the purple flowers edging?
Celia.
It's well behind us a minute. People who know about gardening will know that there's no main conversation.
Just a one pair.
That is chicken.
Time.
Like a larder.
Yeah, it was. It was really switched on.
Didn't actually have to, did
And
it?
when
Because it was
yeah.
already here. Yeah.
And it had a couple of cubs.
Yeah.
And when we found it, he actually knew we'd found it by us disturbing it. We didn't dig to it or anything, but we were around the hole that heard us talking. And that night, that big gate where we first started off, it actually chewed a hole about that big through the yeah, and that gate's about that thick.
Yeah.
It went through and it took its cubs out with it.
Yeah.
'Cause it
It's just a treat to see, isn't it?
This would make quite a nice painting here. These somewhere along the. Lovely, quiet walk through to the church here. Look at this massive tree. There's a lovely mixture of
to in England. They're 3 children.
And the little chapel as well. Delightful church behind and the chapel here.